Next, from Capitol Hill in Washington, we speak one-on-one with newly elected Republican Congressman Rodney Davis. We hear what this new member of Congress thinks are the most important issues. This runs about 15 minutes.
Congressman Rodney Davis, thank you for joining us on the Illinois Channel.
Well, thank you, Terry. It's an honor to actually be here. Somebody who's been with you since you actually brought this channel out of its infancy. I'm proud of what you've done.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's fun for us to be sitting here together. We were just chatting off camera. And we should say first, I'm wearing a tie and you're the congressman. You're not. You're relaxed, but you just came from a caucus with the Republican caucus, and we're out somewhere in Virginia?
Williamsburg, Virginia.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Very historic place. I'd never been there before. I got a chance to take my family. Didn't get to really experience the beauty of where we stayed and the history because it rained the entire day and a half, 2 days we were out there. But it was a great place, great retreat where we Republicans got together to talk about what our agenda is going to be. And I think you'll see some true progress to address America's real problems.
I want to get into policies, but let's just spend a little bit of time more. It's fun for me. I mean, the thing is that you and I have known each other. You've been on Congressman John Shimkus' staff for years, and so we've dealt with each other over the years. And I was reflecting on the way over here that it's interesting as we tape this in January of 2013. We're just about to have President Obama take his second oath of office. But interesting for you, because here you are as a member of Congress. A year ago, you didn't know you were going to be running. I mean, you were working as a staffer in Congress. Right. You were certainly familiar with the process. But then Representative Tim Johnson, after he received the nomination of the party, decided that he was not going to go ahead and fill out a term, and so you were selected. Ran against a very tough opponent in Democrat. It was a very close election for you, wasn't it?
Yes, sir. 1,002 votes. It was the closest Republican victory in the nation. Was glad that the voters in the 13th district had faith enough in me to withstand the tide that we saw in Illinois for the Democrats.
So how does it feel? I mean, are you pinching yourself a little bit, or is it the fact that you've been so much around Congress that it's old hat? I mean, again, that here you find yourself as a member when you hadn't even anticipated running a year ago. No,
to answer your question, I still pinch myself every day. I mean, it's an exciting opportunity, and it's an honor. You're right. Not even a year ago, let alone 8.5 months ago, would I have known that I was going to be doing this. As a matter of fact, I was just as surprised as everyone else after the primary in March of last year that Tim Johnson decided to end his 44-year career in public service. I was honored to be chosen to replace him on the ballot, and as you said, we had a very hard-fought, long campaign over the summer and into the fall. But this is an opportunity that I don't take lightly. And the citizens, over 800,000 citizens in my district that stretches from Champaign-Urbana to Springfield, Decatur, Taylorville, my hometown, clear down to the Mississippi River. They're entrusting with me an opportunity to serve, and it's an opportunity to lead. So being out here, I'm going to take my experience with Congressman Shimkus and hopefully begin the leadership process to address those issues that I know we'll talk about.
Just to touch on your work as a staffer with Congressman John Shimkus, another Illinois congressman, and how does that prepare you, do you think, for leading off now as an elected official, a member of Congress?
Well, I think it's prepared me well. John is a leader in Congress, and frankly, I don't think he takes enough credit for some of the leadership that he exhibits while he's out here with other members of Congress on some major issues. He's a very humble man, and he taught me that it's leadership by action, not just leadership by voice. And that's the John Shimkus way. He's been a great friend of mine and a mentor. It was kind of surreal for me on January 3rd, which was my first day being sworn in. I can remember 16 years ago coming with him to the building next door, the Cannon building, and watching him go through the swearing-in ceremonies and begin the process of setting up his operation in his office. I saw my staff filling out their paperwork, And I was coordinating that 16 years ago for John.
You were talking about John's Shimkus's leadership, and that you speak with action, not words. On the other hand, to what extent, too, do you know the you had worked mostly in the district, did you not? Or did you also work here on Capitol Hill during some of your time?
Now, I was in a unique position where I was able to interact on a regular basis with our DC staff, but you're correct. I spent my entire career in Illinois getting to know the leaders in the community and helping countless constituents break through the bureaucracy of Washington.
And I was going to say, a lot of work, Congressman, they always think you're up here dealing with war and peace and national financial crisis, and you are, but an awful lot of work of a congressman's job is something you don't see in the media, which is doing constituent services, right?
No, you're absolutely right. Folks from all walks of life have issues they have to address with the federal bureaucracy, and issues such as Social Security Administration maybe didn't deliver a check on time, and somebody can't get through the voicemail when they're calling the main line, or they're online for so long that they have minutes on their cell phone that they buy a per minute plan and it runs out. So they need some help. They need somebody to be their advocate. And that's what a member of Congress does back home too. That's just one example. We've got a great staff too. We put together an experienced staff out in Illinois. Tim Butler, who lives in Springfield and used to run Ray LaHood's district operations for 14 years, is running ours. We opened our first office in Champaign immediately upon being sworn in. I think we were one of the first freshmen to actually have a district office that was fully operational. We're beginning to open our next office in Decatur and looking at a couple of other places too to expand further into the district.
Now, what committee hearings, or committee rather, have you been assigned to?
Well, I've been assigned to two that I've talked about the entire election cycle, ag and transportation. I'm very happy about both of those appointments. When you look at my district has a very large agriculture presence, not just with the family farmers and implement dealers and those who rely upon the ag sector to get a job, to have a job, but also some of those large employers, some of the large industries in Decatur like ADM, or in Assumption like GSI, that provide very good paying long-term jobs in our district.
Let's get a little bit into some of the issues. You just came back from a Republican caucus in Williamsburg. What was I know you can't talk about all the internal things, but first of all, what was the purpose of it in general?
Well, the purpose is to begin to build support and build a full coalition to begin the process of laying out our agenda for hardworking taxpayers of this country, to understand that the federal government is going to have to answer a question of how much more can Americans, hardworking taxpayers, take out of their pocketbooks? How much more can government spend to be able to address some of the issues? I've been somebody who's talked about how Washington needs to reprioritize the way we spend money, put America on a debt repayment plan, that our $16 trillion national debt is killing our families. It's killing our families' ability to budget. When we look at what their long-term costs to pay that debt back are going to be, I think it's an issue that needs to be addressed in this country, and it's an issue that I hope to be a loud voice to move forward.
You know, and there was an article just the other day in the Wall Street Journal by a couple of former House Republicans, Bill Archer, who was a former chairman of the Ways and Means Committee back in the 90s, and Chris Cox, and they were pointing out that when you factor in the unfunded liabilities of things like Social Security and Medicaid, that the true debt obligation of the country is not $16 trillion, it's really more around $86 trillion. One of the issues that you're going to have to vote on coming up here, and again, one that's already becoming very controversial, is raising the debt ceiling. As we sit here today, there is a report out that maybe there might be a vote on Wednesday of next week to do it for 3 months. Do you know in your mind yet how you would vote on the debt ceiling, and what are your thoughts in general about the issue?
No, I don't know how I'm going to vote on that particular piece of legislation because I haven't seen it yet. I hate to use that as an excuse, but it's the truth.
Sure.
When you look at something as important as a debt ceiling vote, where the American people, the hardworking taxpayers of this country, feel that what Washington is doing is just taking one credit card to pay off another. So if there's going to be a true plan of action that would include something that requires the Senate to do their job, to pass a budget, which they haven't done in almost 4 years, so that we have a framework to work off of, to govern, to lead, which is what the American people want us to do here in Washington. If there was a proposal that said, you won't get paid here in Congress if you don't pass a budget, I would be the most supportive person for that proposal that there is in this complex. I think for too many years right now, we've let members of Congress in both the House and the Senate off the hook for not doing their job. We need to put them back on the hook and make them accountable for what they do, or in the case of the Senate, what they haven't done for years. And that needs to be a part of any plan of action that we will then push forward before we talk about the debt ceiling or issues that are vital to the American economy right now.
I know we're going to hear, and I don't want to be too much into the woods on some of these issues. We can hopefully follow up with you at other times after you've had a little bit more time to settle in and stake out your positions on that. Are there any things relative to your appointments on the committees on ag or transportation that you know you want to kind of take a leadership role, or any issues that you're looking to focus on early on?
Well, absolutely. I think it was a travesty that the past Congress, Republicans and Democrats, failed to pass a farm bill, a true comprehensive farm bill that's long-term. That needs to be addressed, and needs to be addressed immediately. And I look forward to playing a leadership role with the Ag Committee and my subcommittees and subcommittee chairmen to push that major piece of legislation forward to where we can find a true bipartisan compromise that's going to allow America's agricultural sector right in the Midwest, where I'm proud to represent, make sure that they continue to grow, which helps the hardworking taxpayers of Central Illinois.
And just before we close out then, years ago, Dick Armey, I think it was one of the first one, former Congressman Dick Armey became a leadership of the House Republicans, started the trend of members staying in their offices instead of having an apartment, which Washington, D.C. real estate, for anyone who's not lived here, is pretty expensive stuff. So this is your office. This is also, I guess, at night your bedroom, huh?
It has been for at least one night. You know, we got sworn in and was out here with the family, so we stayed in a hotel. But yes, I do plan to stay in my office. I don't know if it'll be a long-term solution, but it's something that we decided to do. And especially it gives us an opportunity to spend a little more time before you make a financial investment, just like other American families would have to do. Those are some of the things that my wife and my family make sure that when we make a decision to make an investment, that we're going to take some time to make sure we make the right investment, which is what every family in Central Illinois has to make a choice on every single day.
And you have, tell us a little bit about your family. How many children?
I have 3 children. My wife and kids, I got to go to the retreat we just got back from. They're roaming around the buildings right now out here in Washington. My daughter is 16, a student at Taylorville High School, Torrin, and I have twin boys in 6th grade who are 12 and students at Taylorville Junior High School.
And what do your children think about this, their dad now being a member of Congress?
Well, they have a little bit different perspective because they grew up with John Shimkus.
Sure.
They grew up being in the political world, so for them it's a little less of a surprise. than what it may be for others their age. And frankly, what I find is that the group of people I meet, both members of Congress and their families, are no different than getting together with 435, or in the Republicans' case, or 233 different families at a family reunion. And people are just normal. The family members get along great, and the kids play together. And it was just an experience this week that reinforces that America, our system of government, sends true leaders, people that are just like you and me, and the folks that drive around towns like Litchfield and Staunton and Divernon. They're no different. And we are truly that constitutional republic, sending normal representatives out to Washington to make decisions that are important to every single American family.
Well, Congressman Rodney Davis, we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. Congratulations again on your election, and good luck being a part of the new Congress, as we hope everyone wishes you well, and the Congress at large, so solving America's fiscal problems and other problems that will be coming before you.
Well, thank you very much, Terry. Thanks for the opportunity. It's a true honor for me to be on this station, and I want to congratulate you for bringing this station up. I mean, I talked to you about it when you had this idea, and you put it into action. You've done something that folks have never done. You completed the job. You moved, and I just commend you for what you've been able to do over the last 14 years?
Actually 10 now, though
10
we
now?
had the planning study going for a couple of years. But thank you, yeah, 1.7 million cable homes, and we're here so that we can provide these kind of interviews and introduce people across the state of Illinois to the people engaged in public policy in and out of office.
Well, I know you won't make the same mistake C-SPAN did. My first moment on the floor, we had our video and they had the wrong party up there, so on the tag. So I know, Terry, I got faith in you that you'll get it right.
I think I'm safe to say I know you'll be a member of the Republican Party for a while.
Hey, thank you, Terry. Thanks for the opportunity.
You're watching the Illinois Channel, an independent nonprofit corporation formed to provide gavel-to-gavel coverage of Illinois state government and other public affairs events taking place across Illinois.